Welcome back to Redacted Media, where we bring you the content as long as you mind your business. Before we get started, I'd like you guys to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, everything you can on YouTube. It really helps out the algorithms. If you are listening to us on the audio-only podcast, go ahead and subscribe. Review us if you'd like to. Drop a 5-star on Redacted Media. That'd be awesome. And today we're continuing our journey to the Dark Tower, and I am one of your hosts, Redacted or Alarmer, and this is Jake.
I'm Jake. I am the newbie, the baby, but not the one who died last time.
Yeah, not that Jake. If you guys, spoiler alert, I guess it says like episode 4, so figure it out. But yeah, we are starting on book 2, and that is The Drawing of the Three. After leaving Roland on the side of a beach after betraying really his son, in my opinion. Like they took on that relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
And he betrayed him to get to the Man in Black. And so we're starting with him. I like how this book doesn't give us any time between. It's just page to page. If you put this into one book, it could be one book, you know?
Yeah, it's just like the next moment, basically, after the first one ends. Like, I think it says somewhere that it's been like 7 hours, maybe, but that's it.
Yeah. That's not long between. No. And just a little history behind these books. It had been like, I believe, like 8 to 9 years between books for this. So
that's wild. The
fact that he could pick up on that and it does feel like a different book.
You can definitely tell that his writing has improved. He's improved as a writer. Since
he's found himself, I think. Yeah. But it feels like the same character. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I was still joining Roland. It wasn't like, okay, different character, same name, a different attempt at this or a reimagination of that somehow. I didn't feel like Roland got recast. How about that?
Yeah, there we go.
But we pick up there, and he does not. You think that Roland might have got some hints from his friends that Roland was a little bit too powerful? Like maybe he was this like almighty being, and he needed to be cut down a peg.
Yeah, they're like, dude, nerf him. Just in the patch notes, just like
there's a subtle nerf too, but not really. The first thing happens is these fucking crazy lobstrosities is what they call them, come up and just start gnawing on him.
Yeah, it's this big ass lobster creature. He's got eye stalks again because King loves eye stalks.
Eye stalks are creepy. Like objectively, they are creepy.
They are. And he is like has this weird like little like did a chick dumachum thing that he says as he's like walking up to him, and he like raises up his claws like he's a boxer, and then he just and like gnaws off his hand and starts chewing on his toes. And
yeah, the speech that they have, I always found that interesting, especially as listened to as on Audible.
Oh yeah,
that the did a chick, dada chum, dumma chuck, like the way that he voices that is really good. So I almost tweeted you like last week when I started reading this, just like did a chick ? And I was like at Jakey or Mr. Jakey Poo, just like see what you'd say. I was like, he might not be that far. I don't know where you're at. I don't want to spoil anything, but I almost did. Because it does crack me up. I do like the lobstrosities and just how out there they are.
And they're gigantic, too. Like, normally you think of, like, a lobster creature, and you're like, oh, it's like a little lobster. This thing is about, like, 4 or 5 feet long.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's, don't like that.
That's a whole dog.
Right.
You know?
That's a big dog, too.
Yeah. And they're so... What the fuck is up with taking their claws out of the water? Like it's such a weird thing, like you said, like a boxer's pose. So I'm guessing up here, right? Like by our cheekbones. That's
kind of what I was imagining.
Yeah, and that they would, whenever the waves come in, they pick their claws out of it, and that's just like a thing they do.
Yeah.
And Roland underestimates this guy, and takes, I believe it's his middle finger and his forefinger.
Yep. He loses 2 fingers and 1 toe.
Yeah.
So 3
digits. Three phalanges. Aren't they phalanges, I think?
I think that's correct. That's part of your fingers anyway.
Yeah, science people get out there. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, they take that shit from. Were you surprised that he was not invincible? Did he not have plot armor that could get him past page 9?
Right. I was surprised that he got so royally fucked up so fast.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even make it out of the prologue without being maimed.
Yeah.
And not only is he maimed, but another nerf that King did is he got rid of most of his bullets. They got wet, and he's only got about 20 left that he's thinks might work. He doesn't even know if they're all going to be good or not.
Which is, I mean, he said he spent, I think, like 32 at Toll.
Yeah.
That's pretty good shooting ticks.
Yeah.
But even to be half of his gone, God, I'd love to go back and tally how many times he shot at the gunslinger or at Jake that were just wasted bullets.
Right.
Like, you think about that now, that's how I'd be if I was in his shoes. His half a shoe on one foot. But
yeah.
that bothers me right now watching this. Like, this man has half a shoe and it's never mentioned. He ties up his hand and he has half a shoe with a bloody foot.
Oh, yeah. He never does take care
You know
of those.
how bad that would hurt to be walking in sand?
Right. And, like, you know, they talk about the infection going up his arm.
Yeah.
He'd have one going up his leg, too.
You'd think so, right?
Right.
But they just don't care about it. It's all about, I guess, to him, his hands are probably way more important than his feet.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking as a Star Wars fan, hates the sand. It's gritty and gets everywhere. I think it's our second time of that exact quote on
Right.
this show.
Yeah.
But no, that would piss me off. I hate something being in my shoe. I have to stop taking. I'll never. No.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So having grits of sand in an open wound would drive me absolutely nuts.
Yeah, no, I've taken my shoes off in the middle of a store before to fix that problem.
I don't care if I'm in church. I could be getting married on the stand. I have a pebble in my shoe. I'm getting it out.
Right.
Like,
No.
no, it's not. I'm not dealing with this.
Honey, just a minute.
Yeah, I do, but hold on.
Yeah. I will in a minute.
I swear I will, but wait. So he, I like the way that he kills it too by getting a big old rock, and like I can imagine the pain and like how you could shoot this thematically, or not thematically, but Jesus, on film, shoot it. Why did I say thematically? I'm an idiot. But like just having his no fingers there, gripping it too, like you could have like blood running down, so it'd be watery. It'd be just terribly visceral and gross. And then
monstrosity guts shooting all over the place, and its blood mixing with his blood, and
yeah, gross. I do like how they also said that whenever the tide comes up one more time, whenever the monstrosity's already crushed, it's pinchers go up one more time, like just out of the instinct is that deep.
I like that.
Yeah, that even while it's dead, it still has the instinct to put its body's down, but it's still trying to raise him up to keep him out of the water. I don't fucking know.
Right.
I don't know where that would go with it, but. Yeah, so that's basically what happens in the prologue. Like I really feel like this is somebody, or he went back and read the Gunslinger and said, I made somebody that I couldn't fuck with.
Right.
That's about like magic, which might be cheap. You know, if he's always facing the Man in Black and it's weapons of man versus magic, what the fuck does all his skills matter?
Oh, you know what? Speaking of the prologue and the Man in Black, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like there's a little section before the prologue that kind of has a summary of the last book. And it straight up says the Man in Black is dead. I thought he was like alive or something, but
Do they say that?
yeah, it's
See, mine, I have a foreword from King.
Yeah.
Which is like recapping this whole series. It's the same thing in all 7 books on being 19 and a few other things.
I have let me pull it up here. It's in mine it calls it
Renewal?
the argument.
Yeah, right there. I do have that too. I tend to just skip past those because I feel like he's not preparing for a first-time reader.
Right. I wasn't sure if it was going to be part of the story or not.
Mm-hmm. With a title like Argument, I could see that. Yeah.
Right. And normally with like if it's like a foreword or something like that, or a letter from the author, I'll skip that and like read it again after the book or after the series.
Mm-hmm.
But with something like this, I was like, oh, okay, this is just another part of the prologue, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a summary of the first book, and it does pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just it says here the Man in Black is dead, and I was like, oh, well.
So there he goes. So at least the movie got that right. The Man in Black dies. Yo, I bet we could. Yo, there's nothing that the movie spoils, but it takes elements from like book 6 and book 7.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the most frustrating content to make for me, and I'll get out of the way. I don't want to watch that fucking movie again, but it's gonna be
I kind of want to after we read everything, because I'm kind of fascinated.
We get to the end, definitely. I was like, do I want to get it over with? You know,
right.
like, we finished this book, let's watch the movie, whatever. But I'm like, no, I don't want to. anything about beams. The movie talks about beams. We've had a little hint of beams in here, but it's like, okay, I don't want to expand on that at all by accident and get to where we shouldn't be.
Right. And I'll just kind of, since you said that there are elements from books 6 and 7, I'll be fascinated to pick up on those. Like, and even more, I will know the movie was bad. But
if okay, you know how Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man, right?
Yeah.
But in the new Ant-Man, he's just like the guy that made it.
Yeah, he was like the older scientist, and then they have Scott Lang.
If you really loved Hank Pym as Ant-Man, take that and cut it by 90%. That's how much they put in of 6. Like the reduction from what Hank Pym is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Then it reduced that by 90%. That's how much they used out of book 6 and book 7. It's like just like
a little bit of seasoning.
Like in a biology book, it'd be the blue headlines.
Right.
Like it's
when a recipe says like a pinch of salt, they mean like half of that.
And yeah, and if just you don't really need salt.
Yeah.
think of salt while you're eating this.
Yeah. Just sprinkle in your memories.
Yeah. Remember what salt tastes like? That was fun. Oh man, it's like an hour and 20-minute movie. If I like don't edit out things and just like pause it and talk, it'll be a 4-hour show. I'll have that much to say.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You're not talking me out of it. I'm getting excited for it.
I'm just God. So we got through the prologue, right?
Yeah.
And really, the pacing of this book is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Everything happens so quick. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna meet Eddie this already, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, we're gonna get Eddie out of the bathroom already, aren't we? And
yeah.
I was really like, oh yeah, this holy shit. So yeah, so nothing really happened. Okay. Let's go with your notes because I didn't mark up my book much because I was at school and all I had was pens and I don't like using pens on books.
Gotcha. No, I wrote kind of the bare parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's kind of interesting in how it's structured. It's structured different than the last book. This one has more chapters. It still has the sections inside of it, but it does have, like today we're reading The Prisoner, Chapter 1, The Door, Chapter 2, Chapter 3.
We have, I like to call these books.
Yeah.
Chapters, subchapters is how I'd refer to it.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah. So we have books, chapters, subchapters. This is The Prisoner. That's the whole book, quote unquote book,
Yeah.
A book within a book. I don't know why he loves to structure this so rigidly with breaking it up so quick, but it's his style and he does it in a lot of books.
I've seen a lot of authors do that too, and it makes me feel like I'm reading it faster. It kind of keeps the pace up.
It gives
the shorter breaks.
I'm gonna read up until the end of this chapter. Like, oh, it's next page. Cool.
Yeah. It's like, just a little bit more then. Just a little bit more.
I could do another chapter. I mean, it's just right there. I can see it. Yeah, let me get another one in. So,
Someone whose work I don't respect but also does that is James Patterson.
Yo, James, I had to read one of his for class 2 years ago. It was a graphic novel, and that was so bad.
The man makes me angry. I was a big fan of his Maxim Ride series when I was like in middle school, early high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I was such a big fan of them, I kept reading them as they came out, getting more and more disappointed with them each time.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever gotten mad at a book was the ending of, I think it was either book 8 or 9 maybe, where so the whole series, the main character's been destined to be the person to save the world. She's gonna save the world, and she's training for it, and she keeps being told by this voice in her head that that's what her purpose is. And at the end of the 8th book, which there's 9 books in the series, and this one was marketed as the final book, and then at the end of it they're like, oh, actually there's one more.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah, but at the end of the 8th book, the end of the world happens, and instead of doing anything to stop it, she hides out in a bunker and stays safe, and she just hangs out. She just is well, I can either save everyone, or I can not risk my family and myself and just stay hidden.
And let me guess, book 9 was all redoing that and
book 9 was kind of living in the aftermath of that.
So she was the chosen one that never
yeah, that just kind of refused to do anything about it, even though she had been trying to and working towards doing it the whole time. She had never been opposed to doing that.
Wow.
And then just at the last second, she's like, actually, if I just hang out here underground with like some other bird people, like that'd be cool.
Wow.
I threw my book across the room when I got to the last page of that because I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then I still read the 9th one, and that was
You
the end
have
of the
to at that
series.
point. I'm 8 books in.
And then I found out like a month or two ago that he's writing a sequel series to it.
A sequel series, huh?
It's like 15 years later about her daughter or something.
Huh. Okay.
And I bought it. And then the second one just came out, so I bought it too. I haven't read it yet, but
Yeah.
it wasn't good, but I still bought the second one.
This is
I'll
a lot
buy
for
all of them,
this is
I'm
a lot
sure.
for an author you don't like.
It is. I'm bought in and I'm dedicated to this one series of his at least.
Yeah.
So I'm very familiar with the man's work.
Yeah.
Don't like any of it.
That's awesome.
The first three books of that series are great.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. At least they were like over a decade ago when I read them.
Okay.
I'm holding that caveat in case they're not great anymore.
Yeah, because even shows I watched
Yeah.
a decade ago, I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah. What was I thinking?
Yeah. Why?
Anyways, Dark Tower.
Yeah. So, monkey on your back. You didn't know that phrase. Did it make a little more sense to you now? Have you ever
Yeah,
heard that in
absolutely.
relationship to an addiction?
I haven't, but it instantly made sense to me.
Yeah.
As soon as like it said that the first person, the one who's possessed by the demon of heroin, is the prisoner, and we had the card of the prisoner with the monkey on his back. I was like, okay, this all tracks.
Yeah. That I don't know if it's because I'm from a family of addicts that I know like the slang and stuff, but I know one of my favorite sayings about in like Vietnam movies is that came back with a steel plate in his head and a monkey on his back. Because, they just give them all this opium, whatever the fuck they want, so they're not screaming.
Yeah.
And then no chance to recover from addiction. And they come back and heroin is just booming. It's like, oh, yeah, we got you. You're jonesing? I got you. Try this. It's even better, But, yeah, that when I read that the first time, I was like, oh, my God, that's same guy. He's the prisoner. Okay.
Yeah, so chapter 1 starts with Roland dreaming of the words of the oracle, which is, I think, it's been, like you said, like 8 or 9 years, so he's just trying to remind us.
Yeah.
He goes over like the prophecy that the oracle gave him about the first is a dark-haired man on the brink of robbery and murder. A demon has infested him. The name of the demon is heroin, and so we know that like he's going to be a prisoner to heroin itself, which I really like that that use of like the cards.
Is that what the card? Is that an actual tarot card?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no shit.
So in like I said, the only real experience I've had with them is like the Persona games. But one of the like Arcana links that you can make is with in each game like there's someone who's called a prisoner, and they're a prisoner to something in their life.
Yeah. I like that.
Those are a little bit more PG-13, so they're not heroin addicts.
Yeah, this guy is especially so like Roland needs help, right? Like we can
Oh yeah, Roland's fucked up right now.
Roland needs help. And who does he get? Eddie Dean Junkie.
Yeah. He like is like crawling across the beach.
Oh yeah,
trying
like
to avoid
his
the
struggle was
lobstrosities.
yeah.
And like he can see an infection eating its way up his hand. And like the man in black is in his head taunting him.
Which God, okay.
I'm like, is this just him thinking, or is there actually something about the man? Like he does have his jawbone, so maybe part of his spirit was attached to that or something mythical like that.
Yeah. I know this would be totally fucked up with like the Man in Black's history with his mom and his dad. But I love the trope in fiction of like a hero and a bad guy being the same person. Well, I love to see Men in Black and Roland be the same person. Like some kind of weird make it work,
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was getting with this, because like being able to communicate to somebody telepathy or just through sickness, is still, it makes me think of that more like an illness that you have voices in your head.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a split personality, whatever the fuck it might be. You can get into stuff like that, but it's probably, I don't know, I think I heard like split personality is offensive now, or
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
a dissociative identity now.
okay, not now. That sounds fucking.
Or well, that's our like our modern phrasing for it.
Yeah,
and
I don't want to be like,
understanding of it.
oh, so you want them to call them
Yeah.
this now? No, it's
It's
like, no, I'm
our,
just
our current understanding.
I'm ignorant to a lot
Yeah.
of things, and this is one of them.
And that's something that's hard to really be on top of unless you are in the mental health field.
For sure, I don't have anybody that I connect with on a day-to-day basis that I would have to be able to learn these terms, and I don't like have experience with this for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. Besides that, Roland's fucked, and he's heading north
Yeah.
with the ocean to his left, and that doesn't make any sense.
No. Wait. It was right. 'Cause-
It's supposed to be
yeah.
because he's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And I did do the thing of looking up the map, and the way they describe this is fucking amazing. It's basically Mexico. Like, okay, there can be oceans over here, okay, but we're not going.
It's just a big, huge horseshoe of land with like
Yeah.
yeah.
The one I looked at had like, okay, I'm gonna draw it for you. So it'd be like Gilead up in the top northeast, and the desert was down here, and he passed a beam that was supposedly, that I think, it all floats that way, but he was not necessarily following that beam. He was heading west. He got down into the mountains and went like through in southeast and came out that side. So he's like technically south of Gilead, but thousands of miles down.
Yeah.
And then that's how they kind of do the rest of the map where he goes. And it's
Okay.
we get to talking about beams, and I'll probably bring it up because that's about all you need to know. Like, it's not gonna spoil anything for you, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, after walking for 3 hours.
Name of the book, Drawing of the Three.
Yeah. He drinks the last of like his water skins. He's out of water. He's out of food. He collapses, and like in the distance, he sees something weird, and something like standing up on the beach, and he starts crawling towards it, and it is a door, just standing in the middle of the beach for some reason.
Yeah.
And as he gets closer, he can see that like the words of the prisoner are like engraved on the door. The doorknob is like in the shape of a baboon, which I thought was cool. It's like a baboon's head.
Really?
Yeah, or has a gold doorknob in the shape of a baboon.
Oh, that's wild. I've never like picked up on that.
Yeah. And he like walks around the door, and when he gets like behind it, he doesn't see it anymore. He walks back to the front, and it's there again. And he hears noises coming from the other side of the door, and so he looks through it and screams in terror for like the first time in his life, or at least the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
It's his first scream of terror in his adult life, and he slammed the door shut.
This man just battled a wizard, slow mutants,
Saw the universe.
the creation, and possibly the end, and this whole that's where we're talking about like Roland being kind of a simple man. He doesn't understand the big like existential things. Like, oh my God, like this is gonna drive me nuts. But being high in the air scares him.
Yeah. So he opens the door again and realizes he's looking through a window, and seeing the earth from just like way, way high up. And but before he goes back or opens the door again, he remembers like Court telling him that true gunslingers can see more in a glance than some men see in a lifetime. So like that's when he thinks back and he's like, oh, there was edges around what I saw. It must have been a window.
Mm-hmm. Which is a big leap there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool that the whole, because it does have a payoff about him seeing more than other people do.
Yeah, and it does like come up a few times in the reading.
And I like having a quarterback. Anytime he's back, I'm happy because I think that he's kind of shortchanged in the first book. I'm hoping that King had the thought to have a whole bunch of flashbacks throughout this whole series that would kind of build out Roland's childhood. Because if not, you're just robbed of some really cool world building for one, and then like character development for Roland. Because I believe that there's a lot to be said on how a man gets to be the guy that kills a town.
Yeah.
So, I do enjoy anytime we go back with Court.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he opens up again, and Eddie isn't. Oh, he doesn't see it again, right? Does he?
No, this time he sees like a picture of a horseless vehicle, like the kind that filled the world before it moved on, and he realizes that it's like on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And that's when he realizes he's looking through somebody's eyes.
That's a big jump to take too.
Right. Like I think he sees movement and sees like it moving around or something. Yeah. But that's not what I would think at first. Like if this is some new experience I'd never known before, and just like the whole world that I see through this door is like just some weird thing moving around, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is obviously just somebody else's point of view.
I wonder if you live in a world without moving pictures. Like, would that be your next one to think about? Because, like, okay, the only thing that I could see something that's moving and live would be through and maybe that's, you know, more ingrained in their culture of how you think and how you write is trying to create that, because we don't think about. I'd like to see this actually. Look at how writers changed how they take on scenes after like the television and movies became really big. Yeah. Like, did they start to set scenes like how a TV would or how a director would, instead of how maybe a human would experience? Like, because a lot of times I think in movies and TVs we jump right into scenes. Yeah. We jump right into it. It's just right there. You know, they don't walk in. Did that happen in fiction? You know, did they maybe used to, back in the 1920s, did they walk into somewhere and kind of like give it more of a...
I would have to read a lot more older stuff to really know. I aside from like stuff that was assigned at school, I've not read too much that isn't quote unquote modern.
I know like Fall of House of Usher. Okay, that's like an old one by Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, that I read last semester, and it does start with the guy literally walking up to the House of Usher. That's kind of a different one because that's the whole point of the story is this fucking house, right? But I don't know, just be interested. I said that I'd like to see a paper written on that, just how literature has changed. But side fucking tangent, sorry. Whenever I get started talking about like how things are made and created, I love thinking about the nuts and bolts of it. Of why do we start with a last call for alcohol at a bar? That's how a scene would start, you know?
Right. And no, I totally get that. That is fascinating to think about.
It's like how dreams start, you know? Like you don't ever Inception, how did you get here? No, but that's how a lot of fiction starts. We start in the middle of it because we want to get to the action. Yeah. But if I was telling a story to somebody, I'd want to set a base ground, especially if we didn't know what TV was or like new storytelling techniques. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, let's think. The last one I have. Geoffrey Chaucer. Oh God, what's the fucking... Oh my God, what's the name of the story he wrote? Oh no. Canterbury Tales. Oh, sorry. Right. Yeah. They used to have a chorus, you know, in like Shakespearean times. They give you information. It was a lot of information giving before the scene started.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like to see how that changes. If like can be implied in the scene of like how people got here or what they're doing here. I don't know. It's just nerdy shit that I think about. Go ahead. Where are we?
So we're looking through Eddie's eyes, and Eddie we don't know the man's name yet. But they look like up and down, and he sees an aisle with seats on either side. And we as the readers realize with that and looking out the window and seeing the world from above, he's in an airplane. Yeah. Roland remarks on how like the seats are filled with men in strange suits and ties that he hasn't seen before, which kind of is a callback to the first book because Jake tried to explain a tie and he's like, "You mean like a cravat?"
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what that means. No, not a cravat. But
and then he's shocked that not a single one of them is armed, which is funny because it's an airplane. Yeah. But he gets mad because he sees people just riding on, crumpling up, throwing away paper. Yeah. People are being so wasteful with paper, and in his world, it's like gold. Yeah. And so he's like mad at these wasteful people.
I did have are you on chapter 2, Eddie Dean, or is that?
This is the very end of chapter 1.
Okay. Oh yeah, he's ordering a gin. The gunslinger understood that. Suddenly he understood much more. It was a door. It was eyes.
Yeah. Oh, I guess that's when he realizes it's the eyes, not earlier.
Yeah, but yeah, I loved all the information that I think that it's trying to tell the reader, like, this is a world that we're gonna be more familiar with. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard for us to get there, especially with how I put it was Rolandese.
Yeah.
The way that he talks about things, it's just
Well, and I know that last book you said you didn't really like this, but this book I felt like his confusion was a lot more comedic.
I felt
Like his lack of understanding was a lot funnier in this book.
he had a reason to not understand because it is new to him. We're asking
Yeah.
Jake about his world, so that's and also I don't think King was that great at writing kids yet,
Yeah.
and it felt just kind of it flopped for me.
And speaking of Jake, Roland does at one point remark like, "Oh, I think maybe is this the world that Jake was talking about?"
Yeah,
Which is good to let us as the readers know, like, okay, so Jake was, again confirmed from the real world, and Roland's realizing that this is the real world,
yeah, or at least one that is
our
resembles
world.
it very closely.
Yeah, I guess
so.
not the real world; it's the reader's world, kind of.
Yeah, which I don't like that. If you're gonna write about a universe, have this be a universe and have our universe be a different universe.
Yeah.
Like okay, Eddie Dean does not exist in our world. It's not
Yeah.
Earth 616. Where the fuck they saying like the Marvel?
Oh yeah,
comics.
Marvel 616.
Yeah, it's not like Prime Earth, but
Yeah.
it can be a world where they exist.
You know what's funny? With all Marvel's different multiverses and different Earth, Earth whatevers, there I can't remember the number for it, but there is one that is our Earth.
And did
Our
we talk
Earth
about this last time, or did I see a TikTok on this?
I think it might have been TikTok, 'cause I don't think
Okay.
we talked about it,
Go
but
ahead.
we did talk about Marvel's different universes and stuff, but not this specifically. But yeah, they do have a number for our actual Earth.
Yeah, the one where I don't know if they know their comics.
Well,
But-
so like, I mean, in the Marvel fiction, that Earth is just where the comics are drawn. So there are no superheroes or anything like that. It's
yeah, and
just,
there can't be
it's just literally our world.
in that if like they come here, they don't have powers anymore. Like it's
Right,
like
yeah.
zapped from them. So if they get here through some kind of multiverse no God, I'm losing my words. Being able to travel universes, they would now be stuck here. That's why they don't come.
Yeah,
And it's like okay, like I guess that's kind of whatever.
yeah,
what a terrible fucking universe to get stuck in. We don't have superheroes.
right. This is bullshit. We just think about superheroes. We're obsessed with them, but we don't have any.
We don't have a fucking one. Yeah, I like that Roland refers to the stewardesses as army women, just because they are.
'Cause they're wearing pants.
A uniform. Oh, pants! I didn't even think about the pants side of it. Yeah. Oh God, he's great, man.
Oh yeah. And so in chapter 2, the person that Roland is looking through his eyes gets up and goes to the bathroom, and as he's opening the door, Roland notices this red ring this ring with a red gem on his finger. He's like, "Oh, a ruby." No, actually, that's trash. And he just starts trash talking the ring in his head. I was like, okay, Roland.
Just recognize it right there, right, and didn't even.
I was like, oh, Mr. Jeweler over here.
Yeah, like he would. I mean, another thing, just you've crippled your character, but there's still a couple of things you're taking with this character, King.
Yeah.
Did you notice the difference between chapter 1 and chapter 2 in this? That just the writing change, that the language feels different to you.
I didn't notice it from chapter to chapter. Like we
Okay.
said earlier, I noticed it from
Book
big
to
time
book.
from this time from book to book. But
From point of view, I notice it with
Yeah.
just how I have a voice for Eddie in my head that I might show you later on, or I might just fucking show you after we get done recording because I have Audible loaded up. I was like, okay, I gotta at least show you some of this voice actor because he's
Yeah.
so good with Eddie. But just the where was it? It was okay, right here. So going from Roland's way of talking, then the view did turn, not all the way around, but half, and he was looking into a mirror, seeing a face he had seen once before. Seems very serious and very almost formal, right?
Oh, you mean the perspective switches?
Yes,
Oh, I
because
thought you meant just the quality. Okay, my bad. I misunderstood.
that not just their voices, even right here, it's not a monologue by any means, but it's narration through Eddie's point of view.
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. You can tell even when he doesn't say now we're looking through Eddie's eyes.
Yeah.
like the way it's written, you can definitely tell that we switched to a different perspective.
Yeah, I want to show off one that I highlighted. It was, then after he'd given his order to the stewardess and the stewardess had left, he started to feel like he was maybe going to vomit. Not for sure going to vomit, only maybe, but it was better to be safe. Going through customs with a pound of pure cocaine under each armpit and gin on your breath was not so good. Going through customs that way with puke drying on your pants would be a disaster. Like, there's more run-on sentences and, like, little additions onto things, like, just the way that Eddie sounds to me in my mind.
Yeah, he's like, he's kind of a little bit more nervous in his narration than Roland is, and he's like a little bit less serious.
Yeah,
and so yeah, you can absolutely tell from the different perspectives, which I love when authors do that when like they don't write the same for each character.
You shouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
if you're writing for the same for these, just be a third person omniscient like narrator.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't be diving down into this world. You should be writing from a different point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. And then this. Do you go straight italics whenever they're like thinking to themselves?
Nope.
Not at all, huh?
There was some points where it did italics, but
Yeah.
mine does not do italics as much as yours did.
Okay, well, this is another example of straight italics and when writing in Eddie's point of view that I just loved. Where, oh, hey, Henry, oh, great sage and eminent junkie, big brother, while you're on the subject of our feathered friends, you want to hear my definition of a cooked goose? That's when the customs guy, Kenny, decides there's something a little funny about the way you look. Or that one of the days when they got the dogs with the PhD noses, and they're out there instead of at Port Authority, and they all start to bark and pee all over the floor. And it's you that they're yelling all about, strangling themselves on the choke chains trying to get to. And after the customs guy tosses all your luggage, they take you into a little room and ask you if you'd mind taking off your shirt and say, yeah, sure, I sure would. I'd mind like hell. I picked up, this is all one sentence.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Oh,
nuts.
I did highlight that.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like, it's just inside the mind of somebody that's obviously panicking.
Yeah.
And then just the way that of who Eddie is as a person, it's so good. And I will find that passage to show you, just so if you can have some sort of voice, because he's from New York. He's got this like good little New York, either Brooklyn or some accent. It's awesome.
Yeah, I was going to start with my credit I get in February on Audible. Start buying these books, so I can listen to them after I read them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I had one book that I was waiting for. Now I don't have any other books, so my credits were just going to start stacking up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy all these now.
Don't buy the fourth one or the eighth one, or technically the fifth one.
Yeah.
Because Stephen King narrates it. It's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, like the
Needful Things, right? You said you had listened
Yeah.
to. Oh, it's the worst.
I think isn't that one like technically considered 4.5 or something
like that. And I don't know when I want us to read it. It might be nice to come back to.
I always kind of prefer to do things in like publication order.
Okay, I love
'Cause
that.
I feel like that's more the author's intent.
I went through Lion Witch in the Wardrobe in publication order, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed that as a kid. So I kind of feel you.
Yeah, I am. Man, those books. I had a collection of them.
Same here.
And they were numbered not in.
No, they started with the oh my god, like the one with there's like rings and a girl and a boy. And
Yeah,
they start
the
like
Magician's
Narnia,
Nephew.
right? Yeah, the Magician's Nephew.
Where
Yeah,
they create Narnia.
yeah.
And there's like, this is book one. I was like,
And I was told not to read it. It was supposed to start with Lion Witch in the Wardrobe,
right.
then like jump ahead to like something in the Caspian Sea.
Yeah, so I think the way he wrote it was like Lion Witch Wardrobe, Prince Caspian,
Yeah,
Silverchair, and then he went back and like wrote the first or the Magician's Nephew and
Yeah.
The Boy and His Horse. Yeah, and so when I realized like, oh, this is not how he wrote it, I was mad for Kid Me for being
for reading it in the wrong
I was
order?
mad for me because I was like, I got lied to.
That's great. So you started that series with The Magician's Nephew,
Yeah,
and still decided this is dope.
well, because I had seen like the old made-for-TV movie of like the
not good.
As a kid, I thought it was great.
Did you ever have Turkish Delight?
No, I've never had it.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I've heard that. I was like, I saw a meme just yesterday. Actually, it was like, remember back in 1950 when C.S. Lewis thought a Turkish Delight was good enough to betray your whole family for?
The whole family for Turkish fucking Delight. Like it's gross. Tangent number 4 or 5.
We're on one today.
Yeah. I think it's like the third time we brought up Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, or at least C.S. Lewis. So.
Yeah. And like as he's thinking to himself in the bathroom, he's like, I'm going cool turkey, not cold turkey, because cold turkey's too hard. But I'm going cool turkey.
Which is just trying to wing yourself off.
Right.
And I've never done heroin. I hope to never do it.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a great idea to me.
No, it doesn't.
It sounds like one of those things like once you pop, you can't stop.
Right. And cool turkey just feels like a relapse waiting to happen. Like,
Yeah.
Like you're just gonna fall back into it.
Yeah. I don't think
But I liked the phrasing. I'd never heard of it that way before, and I was like, oh, I like that. It's kind of fun.
there was even when he asked his brother, somebody that takes a hot shot and gets like ODs, that's cooked turkey or baked turkey or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as he's about to leave the bathroom, he looks in the mirror and he sees Roland's like ice blue eyes looking back at him.
Which is it's gonna be hard to picture Idris Elba now, right?
Right. Well, I'll just imagine Idris Elba with
blue eyes.
pale
there you
blue
go.
eyes.
Love it. Yeah, if you can, good. More luck to you.
And then we hop back into Roland's head, and he kind of realizes like, oh, I could just take control of this guy if I wanted to.
Yeah, he just like kind of intuits like, oh, I'm at the control center here.
He's like, if I. He refers to it as like moving forward. Like if he steps forward into the door more, he could like just take over the body.
Does he? We've already discussed that Roland looks back and sees his body laying on the beach. Correct.
This is that section, where he looks back and he sees his body lying on the beach.
Wild.
Yeah, right. The fact that he doesn't get like confused or freaked out by that at all.
He's like, oh yeah,
oh that's me.
I left my meat carriage back there, but I'm still here.
Yeah. It's like, oh, no wonder I feel fine now.
I believe that King begins to start to refer to like their soul or their self as Ka here again, which is one of those. It has many uses in this book, and I like whenever he does that because I get that because it's used. I think he really dives into it around like book 4 about what Ka should be and how the languages. But speaking of languages, I love whenever Roland messes something up.
Yeah.
He orders a sandwich but calls it a popkin.
Yeah. Yeah, he takes control when Eddie goes back to the seat and he's like, oh, anything will do. He's like, do you have a popkin? She's like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, a popkin.
And she's like, I can make you a tuna fish sandwich. And he's like, a Tudor fish sandwich? Okay.
Sounds great. Tudor fish.
Yeah. I'll never think of tuna fish the same way again.
Never. It's a Tudor fish sandwich.
Tudor fish forever.
Yeah. A sandwich even. Yeah. Tudor fish is great. Beggars could not be choosers.
Yeah, and like every time that Roland takes control, Eddie realizes like he's blanking out. Like he'll wake up.
He took a nap, right? He's like, oh, I must passed out.
He does it in the bathroom when Roland comes forward, like and kind of experiments with it. Mm-hmm. He's like, I just lost a moment in time.
He did do that, didn't he? Yeah.
And then he thinks that's what happened to get in the seat when Roland ordered.
Mm-hmm.
He does start feeling tired, and so after Roland orders that, he like falls asleep, which is plot relevant.
Yeah.
But and another funny misinterpretation. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go rustle up a sandwich for you," and he gets confused because like in his world, rustle is another word for rape, and so he's like, "She's gonna go do what?
What are you gonna do to my sandwich? My popkin?
She's gonna do what to a fish?"
Yeah. Oh boy.
But Eddie, after he like is back in control, he actually still starts feeling pain in his right hand, which I thought was really cool. Like they're both connecting like mentally now.
Yeah, there's a little bit of crossover, some bleed through of Roland now into this. So it's not just that Roland's an interloper.
Yeah. And but he convinces himself the blankouts are part of like him going through withdrawal.
Yeah.
And then we get some flashback to his trip to Nassau.
Oh yeah.
He starts thinking about like his purpose here. He's making a drug buy for this guy named Balazar. He went to Nassau. He's going to like trade a key for this a key to a safety deposit box for 2 pounds of cocaine. Mm-hmm. This guy, he calls him like the sallow man or something like that. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what that word even means, but
I didn't look it up, but like the image that it gave me was like he was like sickly looking.
Exactly my word I was just about to say. So that's like, okay, I think that's what that word means. So.
I was like, so this guy's a junkie too, probably,
or some kind of not great health.
Yeah,
he's poor or crime.
Like it kind of makes me think of someone like whose eyes are kind of sunken in. They're like a little gaunt.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if we had already passed this or not, but we're talking about how Eddie's not in his flashback. I don't know if this is really him thinking, but it's or narration. But the trouble with him and Henry was that they were like Charlie Brown and Lucy. The only difference was once in a while Harry would hold on to the football so Eddie could kick it. Not often, but once in a while.
I love this little rant that he goes on.
And that how he really fucked the kid up. Yeah, like it's just
And he goes on about how like he would have he's like I should have messaged Charles Schultz. I should write him a letter.
Oh yeah, like oh yeah, have Lucy let him kick it once in a while. I mean, once a year, and it just really fucked with Charlie. And I wrote in the margin that said trauma boy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all he's doing. He's just dumping right here, and that's that at least gives you. We haven't been introduced to Henry yet.
No, we just know that he's his older brother.
I think it said 8 years older, and he had a sister that got hit by a car.
I must have skimmed over that.
Yeah,
I don't remember that at all.
Sister Lucy, long before she was hit by a car and taken from her or something. Yeah, like what's his name? Eddie was 2 and Henry was 10.
Okay,
I remember clocking that. So
interesting.
Yeah, and that's why like I don't know if they explain it or not, but why Henry and Eddie are so close because his mom like made him. He's like, okay, I've already lost one of you, so now Henry, you take care of this kid. I'm not losing another fucking kid.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's interesting to see. I don't know King's relationship with his brothers or his mom or his aunts or anybody. He writes great fucked up family dynamics. I love it. I don't know if you ever read like Carrie.
I haven't, but I was actually just talking about that with my wife earlier today. That book.
And the relationship between Carrie and her mom is so fucking nuts and like just full of little small details that it feels like intimate to a real life mother-daughter like fucked up relationship. It's just it's where I think he is really at the strongest in his writing, is writing those interpersonal relationships of mainly family members.
Yeah.
And I just hope he didn't have that bad of a childhood.
Yeah, I hope so. But I came up with my wife because we were talking about like me coming over here today for this, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna go hang out with Redacted and talk about Stephen King's mommy issues," and I was like, "Oh, so you've been listening?" She's like, "No, I've just read some of his other books."
It's in there somewhere. There's not many good moms.
Yeah.
There's not many good religious people.
Yeah.
You know? There's you ever seen Stand By Me?
No, actually.
Really?
I want to because it's such a classic, but no, I've never actually watched it.
I've never seen the movie, but I read the book, so
yeah.
Fuck you, you know? Which is a King property. And, like, one of the kids gets his fucking ears, like, burnt off by his dad with, like, a hot cast iron kit. Like, holy fuck. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And it's like, and then the kid's just cool. He respects the shit out of his old man. Like, they dive into this, like, just like masculinity, like turn on it in the 50 of like, you gotta respect your old man because he does all this for you. I don't give a fuck if he deformed you. It's just the ways that he takes those, and it feels so personal and unique. That's like,
that's wild.
What happened to you?
Right.
And his kid, like Joe, I don't think anything from Joe Hill has been. First of all, the name Joe King is hilarious because you're joking, right?
Yeah.
Which is actually my roommate's name, is Joe King.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not joking usually. Yeah, changing your name to Hill wasn't to escape the King last surname for being an artist or a author. It was because your name sucks.
Yeah.
All right, tangents. This is the tangent episode.
But yeah, he's thinking about his trip to Nassau, and he can tell like right away that the drugs that the Sallow man brought him were like poisoned and crappy.
I don't know if it was just like it was stepped on so bad that it wasn't like even worth putting. Like, I don't know what they mix heroin with, but I think it's like really bad, like fucking Clorox or some shit. Like it might be really bad shit like that.
And so he's like, "No, I'm not gonna give you this key until you come back with like good cocaine for me to bring to my boss." Because like,
I thought this was just the heroin that he wanted to like get through the weekend with. That's how I saw it. Was that he was trying to get because he was supposed to get a little bit to get through the weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Because China White, I believe, is a term for heroin. It's not for cocaine.
I think you're right, yeah.
So that'd make more sense. I don't know. I mean, not just how I interpret it.
Yeah. Either way, one of the two things that he brought him was
was bad drugs.
Bad drugs, and he's
in
like
powder form.
And he's like, "No, I'm not giving you anything until you give me good drugs."
Yeah.
And so the guy like leaves, and he comes back, and Eddie tries it out and won't let the dude leave until he knows it's good. But then after he feels it taking hold, he tells the dude to go. He gives him the key, and he shoots up and passes out. And what's important about all that is like he's thinking back on this, and Roland sees it all as he's thinking about it. And so we know that not only can Roland see what he's seeing, he can also access his thoughts and his memories.
Yes, there's a moment later in the chapter where it says he rifles through his brain, like going through files. That's so creepy. But it's wild that Roland does have access to a lot of things that he might not just have visual access to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is stupid, but when it said that, my first thought was like that episode of SpongeBob where like he's looking for the file in his brain, and like he just has like all these little SpongeBobs running around, through.
They burn everything, right?
Yeah, because they can't find it.
Yeah, it's a great one.
But Roland has he can tell that this guy's an addict. Whatever the stuff is, he doesn't understand what heroin is, but he knows that he is addicted to it. But he's like, I see that weakness, but there's steel buried inside that weakness, like a good gun sinking in quicksand.
That's a good.
And he reminds him achingly of Cuthbert,
which is fun.
Yeah. I was like, oh man,
yeah.
I can't wait to get into more of Cuthbert then.
Yeah, he's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that what? Okay. I did like how Eddie stood up to the Sallow Man. I think that shows a little bit of the resolve in him that
he's got that strength.
Like, yeah, they might be able to use and throw into an abyss.
Yeah.
He comes back and says, "Thank you, Sai."
Yeah, he wakes up and the stewardess has his sandwich, and we're in her head now. He says, "Thank you, Sai," and she's like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
The fuck is "thank you, Sai"? have we gone through Sai yet?
No.
Okay, Sai is basically sir or ma'am.
That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, and thank you is just like thank you.
Yeah,
but it's like a Yankee way of saying it, I believe.
Yeah, I figured it was just like his world's way of saying thank you, sir. Thank you, authority figure.
Yeah, basically. And I'm gonna be honest with you, everything in Jane the Stewardess is like POV. I don't care about.
I liked her.
Did you? Okay. It felt. Come on, let's get to it. Let's get to it. You're only slowing me down.
It did kind of slow things down a little bit, but I felt like she was well written at least. Like,
sure, I didn't think it was bad writing. It was just
I thought that we only get this character for just a short amount of time. Like I can't see her coming back after the plane or anything.
Yeah.
But she felt like really well developed. I liked her. I liked getting inside her head.
King does write one-off characters very well.
Yeah.
You'll only have them for less than 20 pages, and they'll have a history.
They feel fully developed, even if you don't see everything.
For sure. And a little bit of like a sign of the times with this, that color contacts were so strange. And so expensive. We have disposable contacts now. You just throw them out.
Right. And because she gets confused. She saw his hazel eyes earlier, and she thought like, he's kind of cute.
Yeah.
And then she saw his like pale blue eyes this time. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And later she sees his hazel eyes again. That's when she's like, is he really just changing his contacts out like back and forth? Like what's going on here?
Yeah. And I guess like that. I don't know.
She kind of thinks he might be a hijacker.
She's paranoid all to hell. I think she's like almost at the end of training.
Yeah.
Like she'd be like a full stewardess like next month or something like that is mentioned. I did see that we got an age for Eddie.
Yeah, he's 21. He does not feel that young.
Does not feel 21, right?
I'm like this kid's a baby. Like
yeah, he's a little guy, Don't even think about it. And I don't remember for the rest of like this him. He doesn't ever feel that. To me, he'd be late 20s, early 30s.
Right, that's kind of what I was imagining.
Yeah, but maybe
it wasn't until I did my read back through that I got his age. Like I missed it the first time.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What?
21?
Huh?
What?
Nah." Then we get back into Roland's head, and he's like, "I could just live in this body."
Yeah, he said the man in black whispered deep inside his head, "Leave that piece of breathing meat over there for the lobster things. It's only a husk anyway."
And Roland does consider it for like just a moment, but he's like, "No, that wouldn't be the honorable thing to do. If I want to die, I want to die in my own body."
And that's the craziest thing. Honor? You're doing this for
Right.
honor?
Right? Like
That's the worst kind of. You're talking about a prisoner.
yeah.
You capture him within his own body,
Right.
but he is not sentient. He doesn't exist. He is a prisoner behind eyes. That's terrible.
And then this is when Roland gets the thought that like, after he considers that for a little bit, he starts to get the thought like, oh, I wonder if I can bring things back through the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tests it out with the sandwich, and it like just fades from existence as he's holding it, and he wakes up back in his body, holding the Tudor fish sandwich.
Holding one half of the tuna fish sandwich.
Well, he came through with both of them, and then he dropped the other one because, oh yeah, I don't have those fingers anymore.
I did like that detail. That was funny to me.
And he's like dusting the sand off of it, and he's like, you know what? It's even with the sand, it's still really good. Like he's in love with the Tudor fish.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, he's been eating straight up jerky since
Years.
Browns.
Yeah.
Like that's what he takes on the road is jerky. So, yeah, he's been struggling.
Yeah. I was like, tuna's fine.
It's
not
especially
amazing.
airplane food.
Right? Airplane Tudor fish.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Airline food.
What's the deal?
What's the deal with the Tudor fish? No Tudor, no fish. I might have to clip that. I haven't clipped anything from the show, but that was funny.
That was really funny. But we go back to the plane, and Jane looks over just shortly after and sees the sandwich is already gone, and that he's back asleep. So she just it's like this dude just Kirby inhaled the sandwich and then like passed the hell out again.
So Roland he's waking up an unconscious Eddie to come forward, right?
Yeah,
Is Eddie sleeping with his eyes open? It's those
That's even
logistical
weirder.
things. That I'd be like, okay, is that door just pitch black? Is it like your eyelids? I
Yeah.
don't know. It's stupid.
And it kind of annoys her that he inhaled it so fast.
Mhm.
But then she's also like, nah, something weird's going on here.
It's just thing after thing after thing.
Yeah.
I think if it was just the contacts or it was just the fact that he slept, you bring attention to yourself. You're gonna have little things picked out, especially if
Yeah.
somebody's like already on edge, which I think that this person is.
Oh, I forgot to mention earlier. Eddie is sitting in seat A3.
A3. I wonder if
Which-
this is ever gonna come out to pay off.
But then Eddie wakes up and he hears the pilot announce that they only have 45 minutes left before they land.
Yeah.
And so he's starting to get more nervous.
Yeah.
Because his plan isn't really all that great to just strap 2 pounds of cocaine to yourself.
Such a weird contraption to me. Like
Yeah.
under your armpits, I feel like that's such a hard place to
Right.
act normal.
And,
Like
and they gave him like the big baggy shirt to try
Yeah.
to cover it up, but like, and I guess back then they didn't have the full body scanners like they do now.
oh, this is pre TSA in my mind.
Which is like, I thought about it and I was like, I'm kind of surprised there even like in the 80s that there wasn't more like of a heightened security at airports because like they did have hijacker problems.
Oh yeah.
Like her thinking this isn't just out of nowhere. Like that was really common. I've read other books that like take place in this time frame and or in the early 90s and like they're worried about hijackings.
Yeah.
Like have you ever read Jumper?
No.
There's this movie that Hayden Christensen starred in
Oh, I
about
have
this
seen
guy
that,
who could
yeah.
teleport.
Yeah.
It was based on a book. 100% different. Like the only thing is
really?
like the only difference is that this guy can teleport basically. That's the only thing in common.
Oh wow.
But in the book, he it's a story about like, or one of the main pieces of action is like his mom is on this plane that gets hijacked,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of has like a superhero moment going in and saving her and like saving the plane. But also it's kind of more realistic. So like, what does he do with the dudes after he like teleports in? Because he doesn't know how to fight. He's just a kid.
Yeah, he just teleport. That's all you can do. Yeah.
He and like he gets hurt and stuff and but yeah, like that I think that was written pre 9/11 and it was all about plane hijackings and stuff and so I was like this is definitely something that was in like the public mind because it happened quite a few times, and there's a lot of fiction about it too.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm surprised that it took until 9/11 for such security measures. Like, I'm not surprised that they happened after that.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised they didn't happen before that,
See, like,
when more planes got hijacked regularly.
I can think of 2 short stories and 1 novel that King wrote about school shooters, and we still have that shit happen.
Yeah.
Might be a
Yeah.
different reason.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's
It's all right to have those.
yeah, let's move past that one. One hijacking after multiple, but half brown skinned people, so let's be different.
Yeah,
I digress.
Eddie's getting nervous, and he's like, I'd be calmer if I went and snorted some heroin.
Of course you would.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and just go take care of that real quick.
Yeah.
And as he's going to the bathroom, he feels another period of blankness. Which on my notes I must have missed because I don't explain that here at all.
What was it?
He felt another period of blankness when he was in the bathroom.
Yeah. He does go back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because he tosses the paper towel into like the trash can, I believe.
Yeah.
It had like the little like one hitter he had in there.
Yeah, and then so Jane sees him leave the bathroom, and she's like, something's up with this guy. So she comes up with a plan to, like, if he does try to hijack the plane as it's landing, she pours some scalding hot coffee in a thermos and just, like, gets in a seat close to him, and, like, she barely screws the lid on. And she's like, I'm going to burn this motherfucker.
That's her plan. Like, I understand coffee is hot, but, like, I feel like a motivated
Right.
assailant could get past having their skin burned. Like, they're
Right.
planning on dying or whatever it
Yeah.
may be.
Or, like, if, I don't know, if you throw it in their eyes, like, somebody's going to have a chance to get it.
Right. I didn't think about getting, like, actually on the eyeball. That
Yeah.
might inhibit you pretty well.
Yeah, and if it's like, you know, this is pre-McDonald's lawsuit before companies got in trouble for having their coffee way too hot.
Yeah.
So maybe the airplane had their coffee way too hot.
Like, I've spilled, like, even Quick Trip coffee on me
yeah.
that wasn't at boiling. Like, that, you know, that lady, like, they did, like,
That was horrible, yeah.
the girl that sued McDonald's, like, they did, like, the what temperature that would have to be, so, like, just below boiling. Like, if you put it on a stove, it would start rolling.
Yeah.
Like, it was that fucking hot. So, like, and like
And McDonald's, I guess, had previously been warned about having their coffee too hot.
I didn't know that.
And they just ignored it. Or
Yeah, I spilled coffee on me just from Quick Trip, and like I was wearing jeans, and I could not escape those pants quick enough.
Yeah.
It hurt that fucking bad,
Yeah.
and it didn't burn me or nothing. Like, I think it felt like a sunburn, basically, just like that, a
Yeah.
little bit one. But yeah, I could not take my pants off quick enough in that fucking car. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my god, this. I just right there. I was like, oh, okay, I get you. I go sue the fuck out of McDonald's.
Absolutely. It makes me so sad for that lady that, like, everybody kind of plays it off as a joke, like that she was
It
being
is
ridiculous.
objectively funny.
Well, more of like that she was being ridiculous.
Yeah.
In the lawsuit, like, because no, the more
She's
you look
really
at it,
not. But like, I get like, oh, like you didn't know coffee was hot. Like, no, you gotta understand, like.
it was dangerously hot.
And you've had coffee cups with lids. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Especially some of those fucking McDonald's guys hand to you like this or some shit. Like, where the fuck do you want me to grab? You're taking my only place to grab, which would be the safe place at the bottom. Like, if like it was like right there, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'd be very upset.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they go and he says, but I did find the period of blankness, but I don't know if it's ever explained. Because we go straight back into Jane's head.
And when she sees him, his eyes are hazel, so Roland's not in control. So,
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder what that was about.
I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe like Roland came in too far. He's like, oh, whoa. My bad. He tripped on the door frame coming in and whoa.
But now we're back in like Roland's head. He realizes that the army woman is suspicious of Eddie, even though Eddie hasn't picked up on it yet.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if Eddie gets caught doing whatever this ritual of clearing the custom is, then the army woman will stop him and throw him in the gaol, and I will die from lack of medicine.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, I've got to come up with a plan.
Yeah. And that's does he start getting mad at Eddie right here about just how oblivious he is to everything, or does he starts cursing the people too?
Yeah, I don't think he really gets mad at Eddie until they like can start talking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, he
yeah.
does really get in his fucking ass about that. But
And so he's like, I've got to experiment a little bit more. It's like, I wonder if things that I bring from his world I can bring back.
Why would you bring a bullet into a plane?
Right?
That's his first thought, is a bullet. Like, you have so many things on you. Bring a fucking bloody rag if you have to.
All right, or you're on the beach, grab a seashell.
I did want to go back to whenever he brought the coin. I've read another King book where somebody teleports between worlds and their money changes. It goes from like a quarter with George Washington on it to a silver piece with a picture of the Queen on it, some shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And whenever they were first describing that coin, I was like, oh my God, am I finding another like in between King novels thing? Like, oh my God, is this other book like taking place in Roland's world that I didn't fucking know about?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just describing George Washington. It took me like half of that paragraph where I was sitting there thinking, like, oh my God, is this like, am I onto something? Could I go to the forums right now and be like, oh, this takes place in Roland's world. It's all connected.
But he brings the coin back to the beach with him, and like he kind of studies it for a minute, and he gets really excited because like the eagle on the back is like reminiscent of eagles that were on like banners from when he was a child.
Yeah.
And so he gets all nostalgic about that, even though he's not a nostalgic guy.
Oh yeah,
never
at all.
been a nostalgic guy. He doesn't reflect on the past at all.
Take that line out because he reflects on the past all the fucking time.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Is like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm not a nostalgic guy.
But
man.
back when they were out in my day, man.
Yeah. So he goes back through the door carrying the coin and a bullet, and when he gets back in Eddie's body, he checks and only the coin came back.
Yeah.
So he can bring things from Eddie's world and back to Eddie's world, but he can't bring things from his world to Eddie's world, which is interesting and a little weird.
It's a weird concept. Why?
Right.
You
Right.
know? Maybe it's because
I'm sure maybe we'll learn why later, or maybe not. Maybe it just doesn't get explained.
I don't know.
But it is very why.
Yeah. Why establish rules?
Right.
I don't remember how big the payoff is or not.
Right.
Like, I know that there's some sort, but it is it's interesting.
One of like I've mentioned him a few times. Brandon Sanderson. He has like rules of magic, and one of the rules of magic is like the limitations of the magic system are more interesting than the powers they grant. And I can see this being a limitation, but most of the time in Sanderson stuff, like if there's a limitation, it's explained.
It's gonna be logical
Right.
or explained down to like, okay, this is why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But in this, it's
It's
not
like this doesn't work.
not expanded. I was like, okay, I cannot take a bullet
Yeah.
into a plane.
Yeah.
Maybe TSA got him.
Right. He just got. It's not that he can't bring things. It's just that he got stopped by TSA.
Yo, like TVA, TSA, time up or get up together. Ooh, great way. All right.
But the plane lands, and Jane is watching Eddie. She's ready for him to pull out a gun. He reaches into his bag. She tenses up, grabs the lid. She's about to strike. He pulls out his passport.
That was gonna be an Uzi.
Yeah, that was gonna be Uzi. That scene cracked me up.
Yeah.
Just because like it was paced really well, and like just you knew he wasn't gonna pull out a weapon, but you also knew that she didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so he pulls out his passport, and she gets kind of defeated. She goes to like tell the other stewardess, her name's Susie. She's like, man, I thought there's something up with this guy. And Susie's like, no, I've been eyeing him too. He's got drugs.
Right. Yeah. Something underneath his armpit. She spots something on him, right?
Yeah. And so she's like, no, you were right to suspect this guy. He just has something different than what you thought.
That's funny.
And I was like, oh, that's a little convenient, but
just to kind of see it. I mean,
Right.
it's pushing the plot around.
and like you said, Jane is kind of like less experienced.
Yeah.
And Susie is more experienced.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Eddie, he's not the brightest guy. And like I said, this isn't the best plan.
No, you have a whole crotch. Okay, you can hide a lot of things between your legs. You can do a lot of things. Your armpits. I feel like hello, fellow humans.
I would like one plane ticket, please.
Yeah, one non-drug plane ticket, please. Especially, I in my mind, Eddie's a relatively skinny guy.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't have much loose hanging clothing, anyways. Like, you gotta think about better. Couldn't it just be on a fucking bag, a carry-on?
Right.
I don't know what maybe through customs because I don't know.
Yeah. This is when Roland starts getting annoyed with Eddie. He's like, these people are complacent because their world hasn't moved on yet.
Yeah, they live in the light.
Yeah, they live in the light. People in my world are tougher because we've lived in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Which now I'm thinking about that and saying that out loud, it kind of makes me think of Dune.
Okay, I haven't seen or read, so
So there's this group of people called the Fremen.
okay.
And kind of like the whole philosophy of them is like they are, or the not philosophy, but like the whole understanding it by other characters of the Fremen is that these guys have lived in like this weird, tough hellscape of a world, and so it's just hardened them into like these super badasses.
Okay.
People, kind
Mad
of
Max, but not post-apocalyptic.
right. People kind of debate if whether or not like that would actually happen, but in the process of the story,
Yeah.
these guys are super badass mega warriors because
Okay.
of like the hard world that they've had to live in.
Okay.
And so, I'm sure that wasn't a reference to it or anything, but that's kind of like what it made me think of.
For sure.
And Roland is like, I need to get these drugs off of him because he won't be able to pass the ritual without them.
Pass the ritual clearing of the customs.
The clearing of the customs.
Yeah.
And so he's like, but if I take them, Eddie's going to freak out. So I'm going to have to finally make contact with him.
I wonder if he could just, give him the old superstar armpit grab and then fade back. Could they just be gone? And, I mean, I don't know.
That's a good question.
But he jumps forward and just Roland's lack of knowledge of how our world works. Listen to me, fellow. Listen carefully. First of all, hold up. What? Yeah, he jumps forward and right away just gets right into Eddie's head. And I like that he didn't just take over Eddie and he chose to cooperate.
Right.
I believe that he could have just went in there and done the whole thing.
Yeah.
But maybe not with Roland's full plan, which will fold out.
And like Roland knows that. I think part of it is like he wants him to like not freak out and do something that'll get him caught.
Mm-hmm.
So the more willing the more he can get him to cooperate with him, the faster he'll get his medicine.
Yeah.
I think is Roland's thinking.
Yeah. You like how whenever Eddie goes to respond, he starts to talk.
Yeah.
At first,
he talks out loud.
Yeah, shut the
Roland's
fuck
like,
up.
Yeah, Roland's like, silence.
I can fucking hear you. Just think to me.
Yeah. But Eddie is, accepting of this. He for some reason he believes that Roland is is not just him hearing voices.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh yeah, no, this is normal.
Yeah.
actually.
Okay. So there's somebody in my head. Let's see what he wants.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's gonna try to kick that fucking football. Yeah, that's why I took the other. Okay, he is so trusting.
Yeah.
That he will trust somebody that is inside his head.
But Roland orders him to go to the bathroom. And then he's like, the plane just landed. They're not gonna let me go to the bathroom right now without realizing something is up. But then he also realizes like, oh well, they're not gonna kick the door down and cause a panic and tell everybody else off the plane.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just slip in there real quick.
Yeah, he's acting like he's gonna throw up, which is obviously it's great idea.
Yeah.
Go in there, try to get some privacy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how this scene works. Roland turns around inside of Eddie's head. He sees the door. Roland turns around as Eddie. He sees the door. How the fuck do they both go on the other side of this door? How's the door still there?
Right. Like I kind of imagine that like when Eddie stepped through the door, it got Roland out of his head and back into his body.
Oh, it just like shot him out. Yeah.
Like that's kind of how I imagined it.
Yeah.
He can't be in his head anymore because he's in your world.
Yeah.
But it didn't explicitly say that either. So
yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah.
That he would just be returned to his body because his caw is now not in that door anymore.
yeah.
Very lucky that door didn't just like shut on them because they're fucked.
Right. Because I can't remember when it says it, but later, like Roland thinks, like, oh, if this door shuts, I'm going to permanently lose my connection with him.
Yeah, it's done forever.
Yeah.
It's a one way or a one time call.
Which, wait a second, he slammed the door shut as soon as he looked through it the first time.
Did.
It's a 2-use door.
Yeah, there you go. You used your one. Okay.
Or it doesn't activate until you step through it. There we go.
Maybe. Sure. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. He does slam the door shut right away.
Yeah, because he's like, ah!
That's funny.
But yeah, he convinces Eddie to like step through the door, and he's like, leave your drugs here. and then you can go through customs without getting caught. And Eddie's first thought is like, "Are you a ghost? Like, what is going on with you? You are fucked, my dude."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, not yet." But
No, I'm not. I'm not dead yet. But yeah, I'm all right. I'd love to see. I think it'd be bringing this to the screen. I think this would be kind of a fun time to first introduce Roland.
Yeah.
To start us off with a character of our world like Eddie. And this is how you would first meet him and be like, what the fuck happened? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Maybe like then the main character could switch over with Roland. I'm not trying to give anything away, but yeah, something like that where it'd be, or if it was, they start off with Jake in this last one. It was like, oh, I have dreams of the Dark Tower and and I have dreams of this gunslinger. Handled terribly.
Yeah.
Whenever all he had to do was die. The movie, take Brown out of it. Everything that happens in Brown's hut now happens with Jake. You can follow the fucking first book almost line for line. And you could pick up with some pacing and some more into maybe he doesn't have sex with a demon.
Yeah.
Or take acid, or what was it?
Mescaline.
Mescaline, yeah.
I was going to look that up. I forgot. Oh, well.
I heard it on Always Sunny, actually, on a rewatch, that one of the characters got high on mescaline. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
What episode were you watching? Because I feel like I just heard that, too.
It was the Halloween episode where...
Oh, no, that wasn't the one I watched. But
yeah.
I think that I heard one of them mention it on an episode I just watched, too.
I can see it.
I just watched, we watched 3 or 4 episodes the other night.
Yeah.
And I was like... And it was, season 3 or 4, early stuff.
It probably would have been because they were pretty wild back then, too. So we're all the way to the...
Roland tells him to take his shirt off, and he does, and he's clawing at the tape, but he can't get it off.
Yeah.
And then they start hearing shouts coming from behind the bathroom door, the captain's banging on the door. He tries to get Jane and Susie off the plane, but they're like, "No, we're here. We're part of this."
Yeah, we started this. Don't fucking...
Don't write us out, man.
Yeah. I don't know how much I enjoy this switching back and forth in POVs.
I kind of liked it because it kind of built tension a little bit.
It did. It felt kind of gimmicky though to me, just at first. Maybe like I said, it's my 5th fucking read through of this one.
I could kind of see if they were gonna shoot it as a TV show or something.
I'd love to see a swinging camera. That wasn't like a fade in and out or anything, but it was okay, Roland and Eddie on a beach. It'd pull back through the bathroom. Back out to the banging on the door. It'd be seamless, one shot. Okay, now this is what's happening on the other side.
Yeah,
I think you could do with some clever film tricks.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is so much more cinematic than the first book.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And Eddie or Roland tells Eddie to get the knife out of his purse, and use that to cut the tape.
Yeah, and Eddie's terrified of this knife, for some reason, just because it's sharp.
Yeah, it's super sharp, and he's like,
"That's what you want is a sharp knife. You should be afraid of a dull knife. Dull knives fuck you up.
Yeah,
a sharp knife. Okay, yeah, I feel better about this. It's gonna do what I want it to do.
Right, I sharpened my knives the other day when I was gonna cook something.
Yeah,
and I accidentally cut myself, and I was like, oh. At least I just sharpened those because now it'll heal easier.
Yeah, it's a great cut right down. I mean, I cut the shit out of my finger a couple of weeks ago, but it was with a decently sharp knife, and it healed in about 2 days.
Yeah,
just it's sealed up. So okay, cool. Got me some super glue. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that liquid bandage stuff.
Oh no, I get actual super glue from Ace.
Oh yeah,
just put that shit right on there. Okay, this is gonna hurt, and it's gonna be gross looking for about 2 days, but then that first one comes off, and it's healed up.
There you go. But yeah, they tell the captain even if he is flushing drugs, the DEA will be able to find them. They'll be able to sift through. And
there's literally no hurry for them.
Yeah, there's no need to rush.
They can test the fucking I believe that don't planes just dump their shit? It doesn't store in a because they don't want they don't want to carry that much water or have extra weight for a plane. I think they just drop it, don't they?
In the air?
I thought they did. Isn't that Joe Dirt?
I don't know. I could see someone being like,
I was
just walking down the street and got assaulted by some shit. I almost sue the airline. just have a turd missile hit you.
Maybe they can only drop it over a certain place. But I don't know. I didn't think they store.
Yeah.
Human waste. Maybe they do.
Maybe.
I know. You been on a plane?
Yeah.
Well, it sucks that shit out of there. It's gone. There's no water. It's all air pressure. So that's why I was maybe it's some kind of
Maybe.
I don't think that's like a direct tube to the outside that I'm
Yeah.
feeling like the air pressure change or nothing, but I don't know.
Yeah, they're like the drugs won't dissolve.
They will, but you can still test for it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
they won't dissolve away completely. Like they'll still be in, in the tank with the poop, so we can test it.
Yeah.
And so just wait for the customs agents to get here, and it'll be good. Everybody's not off the plane yet either, so like, calm down.
Yeah.
We get like kind of a funny scene with this old lady being like, I still need my stuff or something like that.
Yeah,
And,
she was asking for like, do I need to show my passport here or in Canada?
yeah, and it's like, you're still on the plane. You do not need to show it to us.
You're like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna help you. Like they answer her personally play. Oh, you can tell me too, and they just get right early. I love how he says, that lady will never fly South by Southwest ever again. And the captain, I believe, says, the lady may never fly Delta's big jets again, said Susie murmured. I don't give a fuck if she flies stuff down the front of Superman's jockeys. It's a great line.
I loved how like he was just name dropping real airlines, and I was like, I wonder if he just dislikes Delta, because it's kind of funny. Like it's very poopy on Delta.
He does take a lot of shots at brands like that,
Yeah.
so I would not be
Like,
surprised. If
like
this was
maybe
personal.
he tried to go somewhere and had a bad experience with
Yeah.
Delta, and was like, actually, you know what? Screw these guys.
Fuck you guys. Here you go. You know, he was hit by a van
Yeah,
in like the 90s, right?
yeah.
And there's a couple of times where that man that hit him, he has taken his legal given name, put him as a character in a car, and just being the biggest fucking idiot in the world. Like I believe he's in Cujo for like a little bit. Just
Oh my God.
or maybe not Cujo because that was too early. But yeah, he's like in books,
That's amazing.
immortalized, full name, everything. But you can't do anything. It's like, oh, everything in here is just off of the author's imagination. Any connection to real people.
It's generic enough. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah, and like, oh, he's just the biggest fucking idiot in the world, and he's fighting with these dogs and shit. It's like, oh man,
I love Stephen King. That's amazing.
he's petty as shit.
But like, I can't blame him at all.
Yeah, you get hit by a van, I'm gonna be pretty upset. You almost
Right.
kill me.
Yeah, right.
Especially on book 3 or book 4. Or was it book 3? I don't know. He stops for like fucking 15 years.
Yeah.
Just stops. Doesn't make any more. Of this, which I think is like they call it his magnum opus, but I think
Right.
that he wanted to be Tolkien with these. It hasn't got its success yet. Maybe it has legs in the future, but I think he really did put a lot of work into these. But
Yeah.
anyways.
But yeah, they're now shouting in, like, everybody's off the plane now. The custom agents are there. They're screaming at him that they're going to break the door down if he doesn't come out. And so Eddie's starting to panic, and he cuts himself with the knife while he's taking the tape off. So Roland takes over, and he's like, "Are you left-handed?"
He's like, no.
He's like, "No." He's like, "No. This is my good hand.
Yeah.
This is my other hand.
This is my strong hand. This is what I'm trying to use this really sharp knife to. How much fucking tape did they use?
I
Okay,
mean,
they're using duct tape, right? Like that's
Probably, yeah.
That says like, oh,
actually,
it's
no, they
glue.
do say something about it being Scotch.
No way.
Like, I feel like I remember them saying something about Scotch in the book. I'd have to double check. But
okay,
like,
I remember this sounds like glue strings. It's like, okay, duct tape does look very gluey, so I was gonna
yeah, and it
give
does
him
have a
that.
string
Yeah.
kinda in it.
And but like he said that it took him like 20 minutes to get all this shit taped up. I'm like, 30 seconds. I could have that shit duct taped to your armpits, dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what this rig is they had to make for him.
They just wanted it to be super secure,
Super secure, yeah. Maybe it was like trying to compress it so it wouldn't look so bad.
right?
Imagine how sweaty that'd be.
Oh,
It'd be like wearing a
absolutely.
trash bag. It'd
Yeah.
just be just
Like-
gross.
I remember like that just unlocked a memory for me. I remember like a long time ago seeing somebody on like Reddit or 4chan or something being like, "Oh yeah, just make yourself a sweatsuit out of like saran wrapping your body. You'll lose a lot of water weight."
Oh, I did it for wrestling.
Yeah. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
you
was
wear-
like, that
you wear-
sounds hella unhealthy.
Oh, it's terrible. Like I know people that like, especially where we wrestled, that had to drop from 130 to 105 in like 2 weeks, just wearing. Yeah, there's that, especially at our school. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
name drop, but yeah, they're pretty bad at that.
Yeah.
Their walking around weight was 125 plus, and they cut down to 105 to wrestle.
That's crazy.
So bad to even
Yeah.
allow this as an adult.
Yeah.
Think about this like 14-year-old. Like, oh yeah, I need you to lose around 25% of your body weight.
Yeah. And I need you to do it fast.
Yeah, as quick as you can. Oh, you can't do this. Don't wear a trash can to practice, okay? Or a trash bag, not a can. You can wear a can as much as you want.
Here's some things to not do.
You see this completely latex jumpsuit I have in my office that's your size? Don't put that on.
Yeah.
And then don't put a whole bunch of hoodies on after it. Don't do that, okay? Because it's really unhealthy.
I did see a lot of people in our high school wearing like just a shit ton of hoodies. That
If you're going to practice, and that's why I had to cut weight too, but it wasn't just because I was a fat guy, you know. But yeah, those like a trash bag is bad. It's a crazy amount of sweat it just produced because your skin is like it's like I don't know, it can't get the heat off and then it sticks to you. And
yeah,
it's,
like just insulates the heat to your body
Yeah.
so well or something.
and it's like something about it's humid inside, you know. So it's like okay, now there's more in this like atmosphere I'm creating, not atmosphere,
Yeah.
but like ecosystem inside.
Yeah.
It's a whole terrarium inside of me, but it's humid.
But they finally get everything like cut off of him, and he starts putting the shirt back on. He's like, oh, I've got an idea, and he like unbuttons his pants and like drops trowel on the beach. He like walks back through the door, and we see the next scene is like the pilot finally kicking the door in, and him just sitting on the toilet like, bro,
Yeah, hey, occupado.
I'm trying to take a crap. Like, what is your deal?
And this is where I think we really start to get of what I appreciate in Eddie's genius. The way he can quick talk.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It doesn't serve any purpose but to irritate somebody.
Yeah.
But it's showing that he has that ability to quick talk like that. I love it. I know the first time that I read this and he said like he was talking about he has a lot to be modest about. He was talking about his dick.
Yeah.
Like yeah, he held his thumb and his forefinger about a half an inch apart. I said, okay, are we talking like circumference? Or are we talking like it's that big? Because the first time I was like, okay, like I thought that's a soda can. You gotta relax.
Right. He's like,
The other one was more funny because like she blushed. Like, okay, this is I don't know, just one of those things that
'cause, yeah, they did all see his bits, and he's like, yeah, I'll stand up, but can you have the ladies take a step away, please?
yeah, like, oh, you know, I don't fashion myself as old fashioned, but you know,
Not old fashioned, but I don't want to show off.
yeah,
Wink.
wink. He's I'm the next. That's about it, right? Like we get it. He doesn't.
Yeah, that's the end of the
He
section.
doesn't
Is
get
the
caught. They
customs
don't-
agents pulling him off the plane.
They don't see the door. I don't know if
Yeah.
Roland's inside of Eddie presently, or if he's laying on the beach. I don't remember how that happens.
Yeah, I don't think it explicitly states one way or the other.
But he's got a bad day in front of him, I'd imagine. I don't think that like the DEA or customs is gonna just allow him to be,
Absolutely not.
you know. So that's what we'll be going into next time. We had our first introduction to another character that I wouldn't say they're main character worthy, but they're gonna be there to assist Roland for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Jake was. Maybe it's another stepping stone, whatever it could be for this character. That I don't know if he's my favorite. I'd say Roland is probably my favorite character. Like as side characters, Eddie has to be up there for me.
I can see that.
Yeah.
He's fantastic, and like, you know, we only have the prisoner section for a third of this book, and I'm hoping that we see Eddie after that, but it could just be a thing of like, you know, here's him for just this section, and then he goes off to the second person in the prophecy,
Yeah,
she who comes on wheels.
yeah. Which Cruella de Vil. I don't know. She has like a big car. I always picture her in a car. Yeah. I don't know. It was a turn. I really enjoyed the style of the gunslinger. It
Yeah.
was so weird. My first
Right.
time reading it, I was kind of upset that it became so. I recognized this. Even before I had read a lot of King, this felt more like a novel that I would read just in middle school, you know, when I was reading more heavy.
Yeah.
And it did upset me the first time through, but you're saying that you did enjoy it, right?
Yeah, I could immediately tell like the quality of his writing had improved. He's a more experienced author. Like it had been 8 or 9 years since the last one got published, and you can tell that in his prose. He is definitely more. I don't know. He feels like he's found his style a bit more.
Yeah, it feels like it's unique to Stephen King. right now. Like this was my first time through any King books. This was my second King book ever.
Yeah.
But now going back in it, I feel not necessarily like Carrie or Salem's Lot, anything super early, but like Misery, or like another recent book, Firestarter, was pretty good. Or 11. Any of these books, it feels more like him. If you gave me these two books without an author on there, I'd be okay, this is a King. I could tell just by the way he actually has a story. You know, he had a pen name at one time. He tried to write under.
I feel like I've heard that, but I can't remember what it is.
Richard Bachman, and his books aren't great. They're all like around the Gunslinger time.
Yeah.
And I think that if you could make the connection between Gunslinger and the Bachman books, you could find it. There's a couple of them that are pretty fun, but they're not very good.
Damn, that's disappointing, but
they're not very good in King for me. Like you know, I've read all of them. They're all I enjoyed the shit out of all of them, but they were. As we put more like that's where like the school shooter one is. Like I never read that one because you can't buy it anymore.
Yeah.
But there's like one about I believe a mentally handicapped guy that you can't find anymore either. That he put underneath that pen name too. But he says it wasn't to get like the gross stuff out or like the bad writing out, that he liked all the books. So it's just that he wanted to see if he could do it again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is kind of cool. I think that's kind of a cocky thing to do. But when you're putting out like, I think in like 89 or 91 or some shit, he put out like 4 huge novels, one of them including It, which is a 1,200 page book.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck do you write all that in 1 year? Or at least be able to produce that in 1 year? Because he doesn't take many years off. He has like almost 45, 50 novels, I believe, right now. Yeah. He's been doing this since like 68, I think Carrie came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just crazy production. It's cool to be able to just call your shot like that. Let me see if I can do this again under a different name. You know, nobody else would know. So. Tangent yet again.
Yeah.
I didn't think I had much to talk about for this book because not really much. The Lobstrosities I love, but we just got an intro to AD. We just got the appetizer to the story, especially coming off of Jake dying and the Golgotha and the end of the book 1, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to keep reading this. I really do like this book. I'd say like in the series, it's probably top 3 for me.
Yeah.
Just because of how much changes, and Eddie, like he's great. So
I love Eddie. So I've told you that I'm like kind of taking notes along with that like tour read through the lady doing the books through the first time. In the comments on there, they're very strictly like no spoilers, so I feel safe going into them. This dude was like, "This was my first King novel ever." I was like, "Did you not feel lost starting at book 2?" Like,
you start on book 2 of an obscure series for Stephen King.
Yeah, and like he loved it enough that he went back and read the first one, and I was like, I don't know how you do that. But
if you were trying to get somebody that's maybe not like super duper into reading into King, would you tell them first book or second book? Like if you had to do like this one.
Ooh.
I might recommend this just to be like, okay, this is a good book. It's not going to be weird and artsy or whatever, like just obscure like the Gunslinger is. I'd be like, okay, you can, and then treat this kind of like just a prologue.
Yeah, like I would recommend this over the first one.
You're a whole 80 pages in, but
so far.
Yeah, call your shot, you know.
Yeah. But style wise, at least, like it's more approachable for sure.
For sure.
I'd say that like you're gonna miss a lot of the details, at least so far. But you know, the argument did a pretty good summary of the details of the book before, so you won't be completely lost. And maybe that's how that guy was. Not like I have to put this down because he did have that. But and maybe it's just because he was young. I remember when I was young, I could like just hop into like number 4 of a game series or like random episodes of a TV show and just pick up on that just fine. But nowadays I'd be like, no, I have to start from number 1. Like I can't just randomly jump into something.
Same reason I have never played like a Halo campaign because I had a PlayStation back in the day. I'm like, if I'm gonna play Halo, I'm gonna play it from the first one, but I don't want to go back and play a game from 2005.
Right. I've never had an Xbox, and the only time I've ever played Halo was like multiplayer at a friend's house.
Oh, I'll play the shit out of multiplayer. I own multiplayer right now for the new one. I'm like, okay, I'll play the game, but if I miss, I am definitely a completionist with that with shows and books that I like. Like I'm not gonna start fucking book 2.
The last time I played Halo was like Halo 3 at a friend's house, and just never picked up another one after that because I never had an Xbox.
Yeah. That's yeah. I kind of wish I never had a gaming system, but you know. But yeah, I'm cool to wrap it up. You got anything else?
No, other than just like I'm already immensely enjoying this book more just from a style perspective, and I am very excited to get into it. And one thing I had a little prediction, like, and it's not really a prediction.
You want to make any predictions along? I'd love you to.
So like it says he's gonna have the power of drawing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe he's. Yeah, there we go. Instead of art school, like we were talking about last time, maybe the power of drawing is like drawing things into this world, like from he's like pulling things from the door. So maybe it's like he's drawing in things from other worlds to this world. I don't. We'll have to go on to see more about that, but like that was kind of my first thought. You know, last book I thought it would have something to do with like cards, and you know this is the prisoner door, so it is related to a card kind of. But I was like, so maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's drawing things from the quote unquote our world to his world.
I think like the word draw was interesting to me when I first read this too, because my two, besides the artist side of drawing with a pencil or a pen, draw would be to draw a card or to draw your guns, which are both very relevant to the series.
That is absolutely true.
So I did like what the fuck does drawing mean? You know, like what is he doing here? What is going on with these three? Do you have a book cover with yours? But I have like three doors on mine.
I do, but it's really tiny. It's like a little thumbnail.
It might be that one too.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. It's really tiny. I tried to make out what it was, but yeah, it's that same one.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's so at least from this we could tell there's gonna be 3 doors.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've said that 3 doors, but like 3 is your number, and you walk down a beach, and maybe there'll be a door. But
I mean, I figured after seeing the cover and seeing that he goes through this door, and there's 2 other like named big sections. I was like, okay, so there's gonna be another door called this and another one called that. I can't remember what the other sections are right now, but
there was I wrote them down, but it was the prisoner, the Lady of Shadows. She broke the blue plate.
What does it mean? I don't know.
I don't fucking know. And then Death, but not for you, Gunslinger. I believe it was the 3rd one.
Okay, cool.
So yeah. I'm gonna wrap it up here.
All right.
If y'all made it this far, like, please like, subscribe. We actually lost a subscriber in the last like 2 weeks.
Oh man, they started putting out videos and they realized like, oh hey,
these guys are fucking ugly. Like, what the fuck? No.
Got that new Jake guy?
No, but I think it's just because of how we've built our brand. We have a lot of people here for sports video content, for gaming content, for Stephen King content. So if it happens that I lose one every once in a while, what the fuck ever.
Right. So please subscribe so we can get more up. Like
yes, and
for every one we lose, we got to get 3 more, like a Hydra.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cut off one head, we get a few more back.
Hell yeah. But yeah, if you're here still, man, I think it'd be great. You guys like, subscribe, comment, please. One guy commented on our first one and said like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Demolition Man. I don't know what the fuck he was referring to.
What?
He spelled demolition wrong too. It was like demo and then like shin, like your leg. So I was like, I just liked it. It said, okay. Good job, buddy.
And whoever you are, sir, if you're still watching this, we do love you.
Oh,
we
for
do
sure.
appreciate
I
you.
just want clarity. I'm gonna make fun of you. That's how I show love. Like I'm
right. Like my uncles always say, like if we didn't bully you, we didn't love you.
Exactly. If whenever I stop bullying you, you have a problem.
Yeah.
But like, subscribe, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that. Go ahead and drop us a 5-star. Recommend us to anybody that you think might be a King fan. Also, comment how you came across this, because that always helps me out with the algorithms, how to market things. You've found us on fucking Twitter. Like, do I need to add more hashtags? I hate marketing myself. I need a marketer to do that for me. But I'm trying to learn this game. We're getting better.
And follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Mr. Jakey Poo.
And I am at redacted_posts. I need to find a better one. But I've went through like 5 in the last year, and I keep on having to like whenever I stream, I've changed my handle since then. I'll go there and change it anytime. But yeah, follow us anywhere. I tweet some bullshit. You're more wholesome than I am.
I try to be pretty active on there. I like Twitter. It's fun.
Twitter is if there wasn't TikTok, Twitter would be the best social media app out there.
Right.
So TikTok's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I'm gonna start putting out some more stuff on TikTok too. Maybe not this because this would be hard crowd to draw.
Hey, we were talking about the clips.
Oh, that will be a clip. That
Yeah.
was funny.
Yeah.
That was
You
funny.
Put that on TikTok.
Yeah. So, thank y'all for stopping by. Until next week, we're gonna get into Eddie talking to the customs and maybe meeting some mobsters. And that's a fun chapter. I think I'm about to find out where I need to get to tell you where to go to because I need you to get. If it's 160 pages or whatever, we'll figure the fuck out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some good stuff coming up. So, until next time, this is Redacted.
This is Jake.
I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
I always forget to wait because I try to cut it, but if I'm moving, it looks awkward as shit.
Right.
You're supposed to leave time for the fade out or whatever.
Yeah.